This is the connector to the heater blower resistor module on this Renault Modus, and as we can see, this pin here has obviously overheated and melted the plastic of the connector. It's probably shorted to neighbouring pins, which explains the symptom that we were having, which was that no matter which position the blower control was in, the blower fan was actually on full power. Interestingly, it also seems to have melted the wires leading to the connector. Like this one here, looks in pretty bad shape. And it looks like that's probably melted the black one as well. Now we have here another connector which looks pretty much the same, but it's slightly different in that the original one, you can see, has two yellow wires going to this pin here, and this one has two wires joined together. But that's probably okay because inside the resistor module these two pins are shorted together anyway, so we can just cut those two yellow ones and join them to these two red ones. Although they go to separate pins on the connector, they're joined together inside the resistor module itself. Corresponds to these two pins here, which you can see are actually joined together inside, so there's no difference. So what we're going to do is remove this connector and fit this one and see if that fixes the problem. Yep, we can see that if we pull the covers back from this wiring loom, pull that plastic tape off, we can see that the actual wires inside are completely exposed on that grey wire and shorting to the black ground wire. So, yep, it's in quite a mess. Looking a bit closer at the resistor module, as we mentioned earlier, those two pins are joined together inside the resistor module, and these two pins on the opposite diagonal are also joined together. So that's, let's see, those two pins there and those two pins there, including the burned one. Now, on the original connector, the corresponding wires that go into there, there's only one wire going in to those two pins which are joined together, and on this side there's only one wire going in. But on this replacement connector that I got from eBay, there's two wires going into those two connectors which are joined together, and on the opposite diagonal there's two wires going in there as well, which are joined together. Interestingly, they're both red, but colour doesn't really matter. So I think we can just, as we said, cut those two yellow wires and join them to these two red wires, and then cut this grey wire and join it to either one of these. In fact, we could probably join it to both so that it's got two physical connectors to share the current into the module. Interestingly, the black wire on the connector doesn't have a corresponding pin in here, so it doesn't go anyplace, which is very strange. So that's the black wire from the connector, doesn't actually go into anything in there, but we'll join it back up to the black wire and the new connector anyway. It's odd, isn't it? So here's what we've done. The two yellow wires, which did come from this single connector pin here, we have joined to these two wires which go to the adjacent connector pins, but that's okay because, as we mentioned, those two pins are connected internally in the resistor module anyway, so that's fine to just connect those two yellow wires which did go to a single pin to the two pins which are joined together. The black wire, which is on the same side as those two wires, so that's the one which was black there, we have joined to the pin in the corresponding location on the new connector, which, as you can see, the black wire on the old connector has a black wire in the corresponding location on the new connector as well. This wire, this grey wire, which went to a single pin on the old connector, so that's the one which went, actually it's not grey, it's like a light violet colour. So that one we've joined to two wires which go to adjacent pins diagonally opposite those other two that are connected together. And again, that's okay because these two pins also are joined together inside the module. So now any current that was going down that violet wire coming out of a single pin is now being shared between two pins on this connector. So that should reduce the current being carried by each pin. The white wire, which is there, is now joined to actually a black wire on the new connector, but it's going to the corresponding point, which is the centre wire on this side that the white wire went to on the old connector. The green wire on the old connector, so that's second along from that side, is now connected to a wire in the corresponding location, which happens to be blue. And finally, this dark grey wire here, or light grey wire here, right at the end, diagonally opposite those two yellow wires, is that one there. And you can see we have connected that one. Hold on. This grey wire we have connected to the corresponding location at this end, diagonally opposite to those two which join to the yellow. Yellow, it appears, is the power supply to the module. That black wire, the original black wire, which is also a black wire on the new connector, is connected to ground, even though it doesn't appear to go anywhere internally. And then these other wires are connected to ground depending on the position of the blower control. In position, you see it has 4 positions: 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now in position 0, none of these other wires are connected to ground. In position 1, this grey wire is connected to ground. In position 2, the green wire is connected to ground. Position 3, the white wire is connected to ground. And position 4, which is the maximum speed, the grey wire is connected to ground. And because the grey wire had burnt through to the black ground wire, it was effectively putting the blower into position 4, i.e. it was on the whole time. So what we're going to do now is just put a bit of tape around here and tidy it up, the harness, and plug it in and see if it works. Okay, we've now put the fuses back in for the heater control and connected the resistor module. Now the first time I tried this it didn't work, and the reason is because these two little tabs here are extremely tight on the new connector, so you really have to push that and make sure it goes right in and makes good contact, otherwise ain't gonna work. So with those pushed in I don't know if you can hear now. If I put the ignition on and turn the heater control, first of all to position 1 and position 2, position 3 and position 4. 3, 2, 1, off. Okay, so we're going to now mount that back where it goes, and job done. Okay, now don't run this for more than a few seconds without it in its proper position, because those resistors will get very hot after a minute or so. Probably less than that. So we're going to now mount this back where it goes, which is difficult to see. Right up there. And we're going to fasten it into position with the 2 retaining screws. So we'll just do that and put the glove box back in. Now, I did notice on that video that I've linked in the description that the guy has access to the individual connectors, the individual connector pins. So that got me wondering as to how these actually come out. And what you can do, it appears, is you can put a small screwdriver under here and just pry it up. And then this section here, look, comes off. So there you go, that section there, it has little clips on here that hold that into the body, and once that's done, you could just pry these, see these little things here, these little plastic tabs up. And I guess that means you could remove these pins. So that would give us spare pins for using in one of these connectors. Or if we had something which the connectors were okay in and just the plastic was melted, we could reuse the pins into a different plastic body. Interesting. So all of them came out except for this violet one, which is just, even though the plastic tab is broken away or melted away altogether, that wire is just melted into the plastic frame. So maybe, with hindsight, we could have gotten away with just taking all the connectors out and putting them into the new plastic housing and just soldering this wire to the new one.